You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 297. Stop living your life by committee. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. All right, Bravehearts, today's a tough love one. I love you guys so much. Welcome to the final episode in our ceiling breaking series. We've talked about ditching realistic for what's possible. We've talked about choosing to begin before you believe. And today we're tackling the biggest ceiling of them all, the one that might hit closest to home. All right, so let's say you finally work up the courage to make a big change in your life. Maybe it's leaving a job that drains your soul, or ending a relationship that looks good on paper but feels wrong, or maybe moving somewhere that excites you. You're ready, you're excited, you know it's the right choice for you, but then you make the mistake of telling people about it. How many of you have done this? You tell people about it and you're hit with, that's so risky. What if it doesn't work out? Shouldn't you be more practical? What will people think if you fail? Is that the best idea? I had a client recently who told her mother about something that really lit her up, and she just laughed out loud about it in front of her face. So whatever it is, you're not alone, but suddenly, right, you're second guessing everything. You're worried about disappointing other people. Disappointed, of course, worrying about disappointing yourself, but more so about disappointing other people. And what I am just recognizing is that most of us aren't even living our own life anymore. We're living a life designed by a committee of other people. Every decision gets filtered through, what will my parents think? What will my friends think? What will my ex think? What will strangers on the internet think? And even if you're not actively asking those questions, they are in the back of your mind. I see them pop up disguised as something else. And here's the really messed up part. You're usually worried about what people will think about choices that would actually make you really happy. Oh, God, it hits, doesn't it? Just hits. When was the last time you worried about people judging you for playing it safe, for staying small, for choosing the boring option? Never, right? The judgment fear only kicks in when you're about to do something that lights you up. And this is your brain's way of keeping you in your comfort zone. It convinces you that other people's comfort with your choices is more important than your own alignment with your life. But here's what I need you to understand. The people who matter don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. Let's say you're considering two choices. Choice A makes you feel excited, energized, and alive, but it is completely and utterly unconventional, and some people might not understand it. Choice B is safe, expected, and everyone will approve, but it makes you feel completely dead inside. Which choice are you more likely to make? And why is that messed up? Okay, that is what we're talking about today. We are talking about the third and final mindset shift in moving from what will people think to what will make me come alive. This shift is everything, because when you start making decisions based on what brings you to life, magic happens. What if the people who judge you for choosing aliveness are actually just reflecting their own fears about what's possible for their lives? Think about someone who's in a relationship that looks perfect on paper but feels suffocating. They stay because they're terrified of what people will think if they leave. Someone's so quote unquote perfect. But what if they asked a different question? What would make me come alive? The answer might be immediate and clear, but scary as fuck to act on, right? That's how most of them look. We're like, I can internally feel, and a lot of people don't even voice it out loud. You can internally feel the pull in one direction, but you're so terrified of it, you won't even say it out loud, let alone act on it. But here's the thing. When you choose what makes you come alive, you don't just change your life, Bravehearts. You give other people permission to do the same. Ugh, So huge. You give other people permission to do the same. When you stop living by a committee, you stop being part of other people's committees too. You become someone who supports others in their aliveness instead of their conformity. I have realized this in myself. One of the most unconventional things that I did was stay in my relationship with Jake when we were going through so much that I think a lot of people would say to leave. And I stayed, which was so unconventional and out there. And I was like, my journey right now is the journey of staying. I've gotten over an ex, I learned how to leave, and now my journey is to stay and stay when it's hard and learn how to move through that. And me doing that for myself when the committee outside was saying to leave was so powerful for me, and it's taken me and removed me off of other people's committee. And I just noticed that I have just a completely different perspective that has blown not only my mind, but my clients' minds and the people who I help through breakups and healing relationships. So let's just say, let's come up here and just look at this in a real world example. Let's say you're considering moving to a different city and pursuing creative work. And we've got two people thinking about doing that. Woman A, her process, right? She mentions it to a friend and family and gets a chorus of, that's not realistic. What about your career? What will you do for health insurance? And she starts questioning herself, right? She stays put, gets more bitter and resentful over time, and then spends the next few years wondering, what if I would have done it? Woman B, she mentions it to family and friends, gets the same chorus of concerns, but instead of asking, what will people think? She asks, what will make me come alive? The answer is clear, making the move. She acknowledges people's concerns, thanks them for caring, and makes the choice that aligns with her aliveness. So daring, so difficult, but 3 years later, woman A is still in the same place, maybe a little bit more bitter. Woman B has built a life that makes her jump out of bed every morning with excitement. Right? The people who initially judged woman B's choice, the second woman, right? Some of them are now asking her how she did it. Others are still stuck in their own fears, but woman B is too busy living her life to spend too much time thinking about either group, right? That's how I feel about the whole going after becoming a breakup coach. I just remember there were so many other people's opinions were strong. And it was not the most realistic option. It was an option that made other people concerned for me. And they were like, that's not realistic. You've got a job. That doesn't seem like the mature route. But now those same people are living lives that I don't want to live and asking me how I did it and wondering if they should make the same change, 7 to 8, 10, almost 10 years ago. So 10 years later, they're now like, do I do that or do I do something different? And it's just wild to think about if I wouldn't have chosen the answer or if I wouldn't have chosen the thing that made me come alive, which was helping people heal heartbreak in a completely new way and build these bigger and better lives through these concepts. So here is your final mini challenge for this series. It is the Come Alive Audit, okay? Step 1, I want you to think about one decision you're currently making or avoiding based on what other people might think. Maybe it's a career change, a relationship choice, where to live, how to spend your time, even something as simple as how you want to dress or decorate your space. Step 2, I want you to ask yourself, if I could only consider what would make me come alive, what would I choose? Do not edit your answer. Don't worry about logistics. Just feel into what would genuinely light you the fuck up. What would actually make you come alive? And step 3, I want you to take one small action this week that honors what would make you come alive, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Maybe it's having a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's researching that move you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's finally posting about that business idea. Or maybe it's as simple as voicing it out loud, even to just yourself. If you haven't even allowed yourself to just voice it out loud to yourself, find a safe space for just you or even a friend you know that's not going to turn you down no matter how crazy you are. You can even preface it with like, I know this sounds crazy and out there, but like, I just need to voice something out loud to like feel it in my own. Do it. Start training yourself to make decisions based on your internal compass, not external approval. And here's what I've discovered with working with so many brave hearts is that, again, the people who I see struggle the most with this, with the what will people think, are often still processing approval patterns from their past relationships. Maybe you learned to dim yourself to keep the peace in your relationship. Maybe you got used to prioritizing someone else's comfort over your own aliveness at the expense of compromise. Maybe you're still carrying the voice of someone who made you feel like your desires didn't matter or weren't important or were too crazy, like I did with my ex for so long. This is exactly why doing the deep work to truly get over an ex is so crucial. It's not just about moving on from that person. It's about moving on from the patterns that keep you seeking approval instead of following your joy. And the Get Over Your Ex program helps you identify and break these patterns so you can start making decisions from a place of self-trust instead of people-pleasing. All right. So there you have it, Bravehearts, the 3 mindset shifts that break through your invisible ceiling, from what's realistic to what's possible, from I need to be ready to I need to begin, and from what will people think to what will make me come alive. These shifts are the foundation of every extraordinary life that I have witnessed. Your breakup didn't just end a relationship, it created space for the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. The version who asks better questions, who takes bold action, and chooses aliveness over approval. The version of you who is ready to be born. And the question is, are you ready to let her? So try these challenges, notice what shifts, notice what becomes possible when you start asking different questions, and if you're ready to do the deeper work to actually clear out those patterns that created a ceiling in the first place, that's exactly what we do inside of the Get Over Your Ex program. Because you can't build an extraordinary life on a foundation of old limitations. Until next time, Bravehearts, please remember your bigger and better life isn't someday. It's on the other side of these 3 simple but powerful shifts. Choose what's possible, begin before you believe, and always, always, always choose what makes you come alive.
If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.